I love the song Covenant Keeping God so much. I think the first time I heard it, I must have played it on repeat about 15 times. It's a song which provides enormous comfort and assurance of the fact that God is always with us. God's promise never to leave or forsake his children was first given to the people of Israel in Deuteronomy 31, but the promise still stands just as much today for those of us who are in Christ. God's promise never to leave the children of Israel was part of a covenant that he had made with their forefather Abraham. In really basic terms, a covenant is just an agreement made between two parties. Today you might hear the word covenant used in legal transactions where there's a contract, particularly if you're dealing with property. There might be a covenant on the land, which is essentially a rule or set of rules about what the owners of that land can and can't do as the owner. But a covenant with or from God is completely different because he's never going to break it. The fact is, people break covenants all the time. Marriage, for example, is a covenant, but people still get divorced. But God doesn't break covenant ever. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 9 tells us that God is the faithful God who keeps covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commandments. That's why, despite the fact that King David committed some of those terrible sins we talked about earlier, God still kept his promise to him that he would make a house for David by establishing a kingdom that would always be ruled by one of David's descendants. Ultimately, God fulfilled that promise through Jesus, who was a direct descendant of David and now sits on the throne with God forever. But in doing so, he also established a new covenant with us. What are the terms and promises of that covenant? Well, very simply, that God will forgive sin and restore fellowship with those whose hearts are turned toward him. Whereas the old covenant relied on God's people adhering to strict laws, rules and regulations, the new covenant in Jesus Christ relies solely on our acceptance of his sacrifice. So even though there might be times where we feel far from God or still do things that cause us to feel like we can't draw near to him, the promise that he will never leave nor forsake us will always stand. And that's why I love the song Covenant Keeping God.
You'll never leave me. You said that you won't forsake me. You are beside me, and that is all that matters. You'll never leave me. You said that you won't forsake me. You are beside me, and that is all that matters. You are the covenant-keeping God. You are the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. The sun won't smite me, and the moon, it will not hurt me. The flood won't sweep me. My Lord, you are my anchor. The sun won't smite me, and covenant-keeping God. Everybody sing, oh! Yahweh, Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. Oh! Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. You are the covenant-keeping God. You are the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. Sing, you are the covenant-keeping God. You are the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping God. Yahweh, the covenant-keeping